The junkyard where you have bits and pieces of old cars. You can buy spare parts, the junkyard. You drop an atomic bomb in the junkyard and it explodes like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Massive explosion. And when the cloud settles, we see in front of us a Rolls Royce. Engine purring. Door open. You just have to step in and drive away. What do you think are the chances of that happening? We say 0. Those who think logically and reasonably, they say 0. But for the illogical atheists, they say, no, it's possible. If you drop enough atomic bombs in enough junkyards, eventually, one time, we'll get a Rolls Royce coming out of there. It's possible. So we say, what kind of logic is that? What kind of reason is that? A person with any degree of common sense will tell you the billionth time that you drop that bomb is no bit different from the first time you dropped the bomb. The chances of it happening are 0. So the atheist turns to the mathematician. And he asks the mathematician, what are the possibilities of this happening? Can you give me a formula for that? So the mathematician tells him, well, its chances of this happening is 1 to the minus billion zeros with a 1 at the end of it. He says, there is that one chance. The mathematician said, 1 billion zeros with a 1 at the end of it, there is the chance. We say to him, please, this is mathematics. Does mathematics define 100% the real world? So yes, mathematics is supreme. It tells us the realities. We say no, it doesn't. Mathematics is an approximation that we have placed as human beings on this world. And we calculate, and it works to a great degree, so we depend on it. However, it is not 100%. Because, according to mathematics, think about this. According to mathematics, if I were to walk out of here, through that door over there, 100 meters away, I will never be able to reach the door. According to mathematics, I will never be able to reach the door. Why? Because 100 meters, when I walk towards the door, I must walk through the 50-meter midway, right? After I walk through the 50-meter midway, then I must walk through the 25-meter midway between the door and the 50 meters, right? And after I go through the 25-meter midway, I must go through the 12.5-meter midway. And after the 12.5-meter midway, I must go through the 6-point, and then the 3-point, and then, and you can keep dividing on your computer and never reach 0. 0 is the door. That's mathematics. According to mathematics, you will never reach 0. You can keep dividing infinitely. So what does that mean? We go to doors all the time. We go through them all the time. That's the real world. But according to mathematics, we never go through the door. So 1 to the minus billion zeros with a 1, forget it. That means 0. No chance. It's not going to ever happen. These atheists usually give another example. They say, okay, if you put 100 monkeys in a cage and you give them 100 Arabic typewriters and let them, of course with paper, you have to put paper in the typewriters, right? Let them beat away at the keys with their elbows, their heads, their feet, knees, jumping up and down, everything. Eventually, one of them will type out the whole Quran for you. The whole Quran, from Fatiha to Nas. What do you think about that possibility? Zero. No, the atheist said, no, it's possible. If you give them enough time, eventually one of them will do it. We say, illogical, unreasonable, doesn't really make sense. So belief in God, as Plato argued, is necessary for us to understand the design that we see in the world around us. In his time, before the time of Christ, he saw just gross elements of design. Since then, science has gone into the atoms. It's gone into the heavens. It's gone all over the world. And everywhere that science goes, it finds design. Every snowflake which falls has a design, different from every other snowflake. Every grain of sand on the beach has a form different from every other grain of sand. This design, this form, was not a product of accident. Accident may produce design one time, may, on a limited scale. But design everywhere that you look in the universe, no. That is unreasonable. That is unreasonable. On the other hand, Aristotle argued that if the Creator had a creator, who had a creator, who had a creator, who had a creator, and we keep going back infinitely to infinity, then there's no way to explain how we got here. Because if the origins are in infinity, that's the same as saying there are no origins. Without an origin, we cannot be here. Our very existence is proof that things began at one point. And it was begun by one who was not himself a part of that same process of creation. Were he a part of that process, then he would have been in need of a creator, who would have been in need of a creator, and so on and so forth. So no beginning. That was Aristotle's argument. And that is the reality. If we define God as one without a beginning, to ask who created him is ludicrous. Any question which involves God doing ungodly things, doing things which make him no longer God, these are ridiculous and ludicrous questions. So once we said God is without beginning and he is without end, to ask, can God be born? Can God die? These are ludicrous. We have already said he has no beginning and no end. Similarly, the question, if God is able to do all things, can he create a stone which is too heavy for him to lift? That is ludicrous, because it implies that there would be something greater than God. So you don't ask the question in the first place, because it is a ludicrous question. Now the question